welcome to the second part of getting to know Photoshop. You may see a difference in this video, and I'll get right into that. In the previous video I was actually using CS4, but I have recently updated to CS5, so you may see a little bit of things that are a little bit different, but for the most part, what I'm going to show you today in CS5, you can do in CS4 and some of the other previous versions. And again, I am sorry about getting this out later. There was just a problem with the size of the other one, so I decided just to re-record this. So we'll jump right into this. We're going to go over the menu bar, which is right up here. First off, you have your file. That's going to be where you can make new documents, open documents, save, save as, import, export, and do some automating. Won't get into the automating right now, but there are some kind of interesting things in that. Next, you have your edit. This is where you copy your paste, but one of the things you'll use more often is your transforming. So you have your transform path. You can scale it, rotate it, skew, distort, perspective, and warp. You'll use those a lot from that edit menu. Next is going to be your image. This is going to be probably the most frequently used menu item, and we'll start with you have your mode, and there's you have grayscale, RGB indexed, CMYK, lab. The ones that you can most likely use majority of the time are CMYK and RGB. Those are the most commonly used. Let me go ahead and get this ready so we can go to that other menu. The other one, the sub menu is adjustments. You'll use these a lot. You have your brightness, contrast, levels, curves. Vibrance. Vibrance is not available in CMYK. It's available in RGB. And as you can see, I am set up in CMYK, as you can see right there. Your hue, saturation, and all of that. Desaturate. Some other things you'll use there. Image size. So if you accidentally put the image at the wrong size, this is where you correct that. So if I wanted this to be like 1080, I can change it there and all that. And moving on to the next one is layer. The one I want to touch on here is the new adjustment layer. Now the other panel we just looked at with adjustments, this is exactly like adjustments, except it doesn't apply it to the layer that's selected. It'll apply it above the layer that's selected. So if we apply a brightness contrast adjustment layer, you're going to see over here in our layer panel, right over here, it put a new layer here. Well, now that is actually going to affect every layer that's below it. And that's what I more commonly use, just because, if you just apply an adjustment layer to this image, well, there's no image here, it's just a black box. If you were to have an image here and you want to brightness and contrast it up, and then you do that, hit OK, and it's on that actual layer, you can always, undo it and all that, but you have to go back and, readjust it here and there. Whereas if you just have the adjustment layer on top of that, you don't have to worry about undoing that, or you can go back. Say you did the adjustment at the beginning of this document, and then you do about 100 different actions, and then you realize, hey, that's not the right color I want. Instead of having to redo the whole thing over, or putting that new layer and dragging that picture back in there, and applying all those effects again, you can just adjust that adjustment layer itself, and that would pop up in this box here. So it would show like brightness, contrast, and you can affect it there. So you have levels, and there's a new level, and you can adjust it there. But that's really useful, and I recommend using adjustment layers rather than just adjustments. Adjustments do have their place, if you don't want to affect anything below it, and you have to have that layer above everything else, And going on to the other ones, let's see, we'll merge down, merge visible. If you want to, have a flat image, you use that. Select, that's basically, deselect, inverse of the selection you have. And then the other one a lot of people use, a lot of beginners use filters. I'm not too much a big fan of filters. I do use them from time to time, but I try to stray away from them as much as possible, just because you get a very generic look. Sometimes they don't look too artsy, or they just, kind of take away from the actual effect that you're trying to portray to your audience. But that's where all that stuff is. The one I usually use more often is blur. You will use blur a lot. I use blur a lot, and that's not one of the ones I have a problem with. It's more of like the artistic type things, or pixelate and all that stuff, noise. You know, they do have their place, but I usually don't use them that often. 3D, won't get into that. And that's basically the editing menus, I would say. The other one, big thing you need to know about is Windows. Right now, I don't really have CS5 set up because I haven't really gotten to use it that much since I got it. I've only had it for about a day or two. But this is where you get to set up your windows over here on this side here. And you know, you have your actions, adjustments, color, layers, all that stuff. Well, what I have here, you know, I have my swatches, color adjustment here, so, you know, that black, I can just change the color of it and all that stuff. That is important to know which windows you have open. And if you know, somehow accidentally close one of these windows, this is how you get to them. And they're pretty easy, you know, to find or realize which one you're missing. And one of the great things about these windows is you can create your own workspace. And you notice I don't have mine up yet. I will soon, hopefully. But you can, you know, get all your windows set up, have them exactly how you want them arranged, then come to Window Workspace, and then do New Workspace, and then you can save it. So, you know, I want to save this. I put my name in there. Of course, I don't want to have this one saved because I don't really like it too much. And, you know, it really helps a lot. So really mess around with that. Get your workspaces ready. Start messing with these tools, and let's see what you can get out. And again, my name is Craig Reynolds with Crayon, and look out for my next tutorial.